Maintaining a six-pack year-round is really not that difficult. The truth is, it requires about the same amount of calories for you to maintain your six-pack than it would for you to maintain your beer belly. Once you get it, it's really not that hard to lose it. So this is how you can get and maintain a six-pack year-round. Now I'm going to split this into two different sections. Section 1 is going to be how you can actually get a six-pack, and then section 2 is going to be how you can maintain your six-pack. So first of all, how do we actually get a six-pack? Fundamentally, a six-pack comes from having a low body fat percentage. If you have a body fat percentage between 10 and 12%, you're going to have a six-pack. Now, probably in your situation, your body fat is above 10 or 12%. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get in a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit essentially means your body is burning more calories than you are consuming. When this happens, your body has to use its own resources, its own energy as calories, as fuel. So what it's going to do is it's going to use things like your fat as energy. So this is how you're going to lose fat. Now, in terms of your calorie deficit, I would say start off with about a 300 calorie deficit. We don't want to go too extreme, because if you go too low on the calories, it is going to be really intense. You're going to probably lose a lot of muscle mass. It is going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be an absolute struggle, which is not what you want to be. A 300 calorie deficit is good because it's not going to be super difficult, super noticeable, but you will start to lose weight. So how do we actually get in a calorie deficit? Well, the first place to start here is to figure out what is my maintenance calories. How many calories am I using on a day-to-day basis? Now, if you have no idea what this number is, then the best place to start is to use an online maintenance calorie calculator. You put in your height, your weight, your age, your activity level, and then it's going to tell you approximately what your maintenance calories are. Now, this isn't going to be 100% accurate, but it's going to be a pretty good place to start. So plug your data in, get a number, and then we're trying to get ourselves in about a 300 calorie deficit. So what you're going to do is just subtract 300 from whatever that number was. That's going to be the amount of calories that we want to eat on average on a day-to-day basis. So what you should do is do this for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, eat whatever your maintenance calorie calculator said, minus 300 calories. That is the inputs. That is the food side of things. That's how many calories you're actually consuming. But we have to see, what is this doing to our bodies? Now, if you just stand up every day and look in the mirror and you go, well, I've maybe lost, 20 grams. Like, you're going to have no idea how much you're losing or gaining. You're going to have to get a set of scales, and you're going to have to stand on the scales. So buy yourself a set of scales every day. First thing in the morning, after you go to the bathroom, stand on the scales. Make sure it's consistent. Do it at the same time every single day. This is going to give you an idea of what your weight is. Now, important to note here, we don't just want to look at what is our weight doing on a day-to-day basis, because there's going to be so many fluctuations in water weight, how much food is in your stomach. It's not going to be accurate. But if we looked at your weight over the course of an entire week, and we took that median weight, the middle number, and we compare it to your weight in week 2, if we see that your weight has decreased, we know, great, we're probably in a calorie deficit, we're losing fat. If the weight is staying the same, we got to say, okay, we're probably at about maintenance calories right now. And if our weight has increased, we'll have to say we're in a calorie surplus. So if you're not losing weight, or if you're not losing weight as quickly as you would like, then reduce your calories. I would drop your calories by something like an extra 200 to make sure you're actually losing body fat. Now, it's important to note here that we want to think about our calories on a weekly basis. This is going to allow you to be more consistent. It's going to allow for a bit of flexibility. Some days you might go over, some days you might go under, but whatever that maintenance calories is, multiply it by 7. That is your weekly calories. That's how many calories you're using on a weekly basis. We're measuring, we're comparing what is our weight doing on that weekly basis. What's the median weight doing? And trying to decrease our weight, trying to decrease our body fat. All right, that was a lot of numbers. I'm not going to throw any more numbers at you in this video, but that is fundamentally how you're going to lose weight. How you're going to lose body fat is by getting yourself in that calorie deficit, weighing yourself on a daily basis and comparing. How do we do this easily? How do we make it as easy as possible for us to stay in a calorie deficit? How do we make it enjoyable and not a very tedious task? Because someone eating a calorie deficit and another person eating the exact same calorie deficit can have two completely different times. One person can be hating their life and one person can be fine. A lot of that has to do with the foods that we're choosing to eat and the exercise we're choosing to do. So this is how we make it as easy as possible to actually get that six pack. So first, let's look at our food choices here. We want to try and eat more whole foods. When you're eating ultra processed foods, what you're doing is you're eating a lot of foods that are quite high in calories relative to how full they make you feel. If you're eating more meat, if you're eating more fruit and vegetables, you're eating more whole foods, they're just going to fill you up more for the amount of calories you're eating. And if you feel full, it's going to make it less likely for you to overeat, less likely for you to gain fat, especially things like fruit, things like vegetables, very high in water, very high in fiber, very easy to feel full without actually adding a lot of calories. I made an entire video about how good fruit is, but essentially to eat 1,000 calories of something like strawberries, you would have to eat 3 kilograms of strawberries to get 1,000 calories versus something like a Snickers bar, which would be 200 grams. Just by choosing the whole foods rather than the ultra processed foods is going to make your time so much easier. Next thing is trying to increase our protein and decrease our fat. A lot of times you're going to have choices to go for low fat options. Go for those every time. Things like low fat dairy, probably going to halve the calories. If you look at something like Greek yogurt, you're almost halving the calories and increasing the protein intake. If we look at low fat meat options, like a low fat beef mince versus a regular beef mince, significantly less calories, significantly more protein. Protein is more filling. Your body requires more energy to digest it. A very good idea for us to actually go for higher protein foods, lower fat foods. Fat has 9 calories per gram, whereas protein has 4. So if you're eating more protein, less fat, it's going to make you feel more full. You can eat more food without eating more calories. I made a whole video, by the way, on diet hacks to help you get a six-pack that I'm not going to go in detail on in this video. So if you're interested in that, I'll put it somewhere up here, but worth checking out definitely if you're trying to find a few little tactics to help you get there. If we're thinking about burning calories, about increasing our calorie expenditure, this is also going to help us get in a calorie deficit. Rather than just constantly decreasing the amount of food we're eating, we can increase our activity levels. A great place to start here is walking. Walking is, in my opinion, the best exercise for losing fat. I also made a video on walking. I'll put that up here as well somewhere. But walking is a really, really good one, because why walking is so good is it allows you to get easy calorie burning in, but it is not super challenging. You don't have to amp yourself and hype yourself up for a big walk. On top of the fact that you can do walking in different intervals, in different small periods throughout the day. You don't have to, it's not like a run, for example, where you have to do a run once in the day, or you have to cycle once a day, you have to swim once in the day. You can just go for a 10-minute walk here, 10-minute walk there, 10-minute walk there, and it just adds up, it piles up. The steps come in, you're burning calories. It's not super challenging. It doesn't make you really hungry and want to overeat, but you're just quietly chipping away at the calories, burning some more calories. It's going to help you lose fat. The way I would recommend doing your walks is just do a little 10-minute walk after each of your meals. This is going to add up quite a lot of steps. Walking after a meal is going to also help you digest the food and reduce the brain fog you have. So a very, very good idea to try and increase the amount of walking you're doing, especially doing it after your meals. Real quick, if you would like to reach peak performance, I've left no stone unturned to giving you everything that you could possibly need, including an entire course on how to build your dream physique. So if that is at all interesting to you, I'll leave a link in the description below. Another amazing way of burning calories is just finding a sport you like. Sport is just one of those ones where you burn a whole lot of calories without even really thinking about it. If you do something like going for a run, you know you're in pain. You know it's uncomfortable. Same with going for a cycle or going for a swim. You kind of know what you're doing. You know you're doing it to burn calories. It's a little dirty. But when you do something like just playing sport, you're just running around having fun, just playing a game with friends, but you burn a crap ton of calories. I mean, for example, I played pickleball for a couple of hours last week for the first time ever, and I burned something like 1,800 calories. I did a 24-kilometer run. 5 days later, burned the exact same amount of calories. I would much rather play a couple of hours of pickleball with some friends than do a 24-kilometer run. So that's just an example of why I think sport is a fantastic one. I'm currently playing soccer for a club. That just gets a lot of calories burnt. I don't even really think about it. I just really enjoy doing it. So if you're into a sport, even if it's something like golf, whatever it is, it's just going to burn a lot of calories. It's going to be really helpful at helping you get lean without really thinking too much about it. Next thing we need to think about is our blowouts. Now, it's probable that you will have blowouts at some period of time. Now, whether that is just you just devouring a crap ton of food, or that is you getting absolutely hammered on the weekend, it's not that you can't do this. Of course, it's better if you don't, but if you do, just allocate for it. say, okay, I know on the weekend I'm going to get absolutely smashed. I'm going to drink 10 shots and probably going to get pretty hammered. Rather than just pretending that didn't happen, just allocate for it. Just go, okay, well, I'm going to have 10 shots. If I actually choose the correct drinks here and I just had like 0-calorie mixes with vodka, well, okay, a shot of vodka is about 80 calories per shot. So if I'm having 10 of those, that's 800 calories. I can just budget that into the calories. Either I just have less that day or I just slightly adjust on the other days. Rather than just having a massive night, drinking like 10 beers and then going and smashing a kebab afterwards, just be like wise about it. Just be, okay, I'm going to blow out. That's okay. I've allocated for it, rather than just pretending it didn't happen. Because at the end of the day, if we're looking at our weekly average, the weekly amount of calories we're consuming, doesn't matter if you had 6 great days. If you had 10,000 calories on that last day, then your average is going to be blown out the water. You're probably not in the deficit. You're not going to actually lose fat. So allow for the blowouts, but just be cognizant of what it's doing and allocate your calories accordingly. Finally, just don't rush the process. Don't try and go all guns blazing and then 2 weeks in go, this is too hard, I'm going to quit. That's why we only want a 300 calorie deficit. That's why we're doing things like reducing our fat intake, eating more whole foods, allowing for the blowouts, just so that it's more of a sustainable process. You're actually going to get it done. Because if you look at what am I going to look like in 3 months time, if you just go crazy for the first couple of weeks and then you give up, and then you go back to where you were, you're going to end up looking the same in 3 months' time. Whereas if you just took your time, 300 calorie deficit, 3 months' time, you got a 6-pack. And then you're going to just be maintaining it, which is what I'm going to cover next. But it's pretty damn easy to just be consistent, just be in that little deficit and then just chip away over time, rather than thinking, I need a 6-pack immediately, and then just going crazy and then eventually falling off the bandwagon and just going back to where you were. Just enjoy the process. It's going to take a bit of time. Just allow it to take time. Just make the right decisions. Don't go absolutely wild and you are going to get there. Right. So now hopefully you have a 6-pack. Now what are we going to do? How are we going to maintain a 6-pack? Well, this is where the beauty of having a 6-pack comes in, because it takes 1/3 of the effort to maintain your 6-pack than it did to actually get there. So the big thing when you get this 6-pack is you have to not be complacent. It takes so much less effort to just not lose it. Just maintain your 6-pack. It's really, really not that difficult. A lot of this is going to come from choosing and making good decisions when it comes to the foods that we're eating. Try and keep our activity levels relatively high and we're going to be set. You're going to eat at the end of the day about the same amount of calories to maintain your 6-pack physique than you would to maintain your beer belly physique, because you're going to weigh approximately the same. You're going to weigh a bit more when you have a beer belly, but you're going to have more optimal hormone levels and better energy when you're at a leaner body fat, when you have around 10 to 12% body fat, have that 6-pack, than you would when you're fat. So in general, it's going to be around about the same amount of calories. So we just want to stay there. Just don't blow up. Don't think my job is done and I can just get fat. Just put in a tiny bit of effort just to maintain it. So, of course, we just want to eat at maintenance calories. Now, hopefully you shouldn't need the calculator anymore, because you've been weighing yourself daily, taking those averages, seeing how much you're eating. You're going to know what your maintenance calories are. All we need to do now is just eat at maintenance. Just eat your maintenance calories. You can just keep doing that forever and you're going to keep your 6-pack forever. That's really all there is to it. Really, really not that difficult. But how do we eat at maintenance calories forever without constantly obsessing over our food? Well, this is where just making small tweaks, making smart decisions is going to come in clutch. So lower fat foods is going to be very, very powerful, because it's going to increase the volume of food you can eat and reduce the calories you're eating. Choosing low sugar foods, okay? Foods that have removed sugar is going to be beneficial, because that's also probably reduced the calories significantly. Keeping your protein high is going to be a great thing to do. Choose low calorie options when it comes to your drinks. So if you're drinking alcohol, rather than choosing a margarita, which is, 250 calories for a single margarita, choose something that is going to be, for example, a shot and then a 0-calorie mixer. So if you're doing a rum and Coke, just do a shot of rum and 0 sugar Coke. Just making these small good decisions is going to help keep your calories down and allow you to maintain a 6-pack without having to be eating out of Tupperware all day. You can eat out, you can drink alcohol, you can do all these things. Just make small, correct decisions and it's going to help you maintain the 6-pack. We also want to just allocate for blowouts. If you know I'm going to go out to dinner, I'm going to go absolutely crazy, or we're just going to have a night where we're just going to bring as much food as possible and just go completely wild, that's fine. Allocate the calories for that. Just go, okay, I might eat a little bit less tomorrow. I might eat a little bit less the day after that, or I might increase my cardio a bit. Allocate, allow for these blowouts, but just know, okay, I might have to decrease on another day, because we don't want to just remove everything from our life. Just make it a part of your life. Make it easy for you to do these things without feeling guilty, but just adjust accordingly. Next thing is, don't fall for this bulking scam, okay? I made a whole video again about bulking, a lot of video plugs in this video, but bulking is absolute crap. Bulking is not going to help you build any more muscle. It is not beneficial in any way at all, except for basically helping you get fat and acting as an excuse for you to get fat. So if you're trying to build muscle, just keep at maintenance calories, make sure you're getting enough protein, actually do the hypertrophy, do the weightlifting training, and you're going to build muscle as quickly, if not quicker than you would if you were bulking. Don't fall for this crap. Just try and maintain your six-pack year-round. You're going to feel your best, you're going to look your best, you're going to build muscle the fastest. It's by far the best way of going about it. Finally, in terms of just your activity levels in general, keep your steps up. Keep doing those 10-minute walks after your meals, okay? Try and get a few steps in, get a bit of activity. If you're playing your sports, keep playing your sports. Just keep yourself a little bit active. This is just going to allow you to burn more calories. The reason I love being active, it just allows me to eat more. The more I burn, the more I can eat. Because right now, I've got my six-pack. I'm just trying to maintain it. The more activity I do, the more I can eat. And I really like eating, so I'm going to keep my activity levels high. So whatever that looks like for you, just try and increase your activity levels or keep your activity levels how they were to get you lean. Choose smart decisions when it comes to drinking alcohol, when it comes to choosing lower fat, lower sugar options. Keep eating your whole foods. Keep your protein levels high. You're going to be golden. It's a third of the effort to actually maintain your six-pack than it was to get there in the first place. So you're basically in paradise once you get that six-pack. Getting there in the first place is a little more tricky, but there's a lot of ways that we can make it a much more simple and easy process. So that is how you can get and maintain a six-pack year-round. If you liked the video, if you learned something new, let me know about it. Like and subscribe to the channel. There's probably a video somewhere around here that you might be interested in, so I will see you in one of those.